The biggest party of the summer is finally here. Maybe the biggest party in all of wrestling. We'll debate that a little later on in the show, but welcome to Squared Circle Radio Live. I'm your host, Chris Belcher. The young buck, Andy York, is back with me. And Andy, it's a loaded 12 match card coming up this weekend at SummerSlam, and we're here to talk about it all.
Yeah, I mean, we go from covering 5 match cards to 2 night card with 6 matches each night. So it's going to be a lot to dive into, a lot to talk about. And, the hype for SummerSlam this year is higher than normal.
Yep.
But the Raw leading into the SummerSlam was lower than normal. So I think it's what
Listen,
we're accustomed to now.
I think we have long said that Triple H does not know how to book go-home shows, so we're
No, he
just
does
going to
not.
take the beginning and the end and forget everything in the middle. We're going to talk about it all right here. Thank you for being with us. This show is for the fans, by the fans. So if you're live with us in the chat, like Dr. Durst saying, hey guys, if you're live with us, drop your comments, drop your questions. We want to talk about what you want to hear about. I know we want to talk about SummerSlam, and you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to hear about SummerSlam, but lend your comments, lend your opinions. We want to hear what you think. Before we get into SummerSlam, Andy, you were not here on the show last week, so I know you got a lot of catching up to do. Last week, I did a segment on why wrestling fans love wrestling and why you cannot fit wrestling into the same box as other pro sports. And I want to add to that just for a quick minute before we preview SummerSlam. I think, Andy, we dive in so deep and we're so critical about the product, just like we were in the first 2 minutes of this show, critical of the show that we saw, this, that, and the other. We're going to be critical tonight on this show too. It's not going to stop, in the first 5 minutes. But Andy, let's not forget about the fun of wrestling. Let's not forget about why we love wrestling, why we do this podcast even. It's fun. It's entertaining. And I hope, Andy, that our listeners and our viewers can see and feel our excitement, because at the end of the day, that's the mission of this podcast, is to let our viewers and listeners into our opinions, talk about what we love, and that is professional wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's one of those that, wrestling fans are allowed to be critical of wrestling, but nobody else is allowed to be critical of it
Right.
because we set through all the garbage for the shining lights that wrestling can provide that no other sports entity can provide.
Mm.
And I think that's the beauty of professional wrestling is no matter what style you like, no matter what version you like, whether you're a WWE diehard, an AEW diehard, or you're somewhere in the middle, there is something for everyone to enjoy and to love, and there's something that got everybody hooked, and there's something that got everybody drawn into it. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's why people love professional wrestling so much, is because you can't find this anywhere else in any other sport, and any other entertainment. Like you can't find the athleticism and entertainment like you can in WWE and in pro wrestling, and you can't find the storytelling, in sports. No matter how hard they try to drive narratives,
Right.
they create those narratives versus the storytelling that we get in professional wrestling. So I couldn't agree more.
Yep, absolutely. And as we say all the time, we're not going to be people that come on here on this show and just dog everything we see, because if you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, it's the bottom line. Like, I'm not taking a shot here. I don't like AEW, so I don't watch AEW. Like, it just makes sense, Andy. And we watch WWE because we like WWE, and we're going to talk about it. Is everything roses? No, it's not. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So let's get into SummerSlam. Dr. Durst saying how many belts will be on the line at SummerSlam. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Let's keep a tally as we're going through this preview. Out of 12 matches, there's at least, I'll say at least 5.
Well, none of the tag titles on the line. We know that.
Correct. I would say still there's at least 5 titles that are on the line at, let's count them up right now. Okay, you got the world.
There's 6.
Okay, both world titles, U.S. title, interim women's championship, women's world championship, and What's the
So
other one?
both men's, both women's,
U.S.
both men's mid card
Yes,
as
that's
the
right.
IC
Intercontinental.
title.
Intercontinental,
Yep.
that's 6. Yep, there you go. So 6 championships on the line in 12 matches and lots of human monies. We're going to talk about that too.
Oh my god.
I'm so excited. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. What we think will kick off night number 1 of SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Still could main event. Pretty sure Michael Cole said what the main event was going to be. We're going to talk about that. But kicking off SummerSlam night number 1, Hell in a Cell, Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. This entire card is stacked. Not just night number 1, the whole SummerSlam is stacked. And Andy, the way I want to preview this is I want to answer the biggest questions about the biggest matches on the SummerSlam card. And we start with Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. And that big question: is there any chance Brock Lesnar wins this match?
No. I can't see a world where Brock wins this match, especially after the way things went tonight and everything. Like I can't see a world where Brock wins. Now, if the regime was different, then I would be very nervous about Oba having a chance to win. But the fact, like the way that things are, I would be not just upset. I don't even think I would be upset. I would be so shocked Brock won that
Yeah,
I think I would be numb. So like I don't see a world where Brock wins. I think there's going to be a lot of near falls. I think Brock is going to not dominate, but he's going to be the offense for a large portion of this match. But
sure.
the last 5 minutes of it is just going to be Oba running through Brock and getting the win.
What did you think about the weigh-in tonight on Monday Night Raw? Because I honestly, it's the way they opened Monday Night Raw. I was okay with Brock not getting in the cell with Oba. That way, there is a little bit of mystique there of these two guys locked inside the cell for the first time. Going to happen this Saturday night, number 1 of SummerSlam. What did you think of the opening segment?
I think it was fine. I don't think they should have billed it as a weigh-in.
That's very true. Yes.
Like I think that weigh-ins in UFC mean something. Weigh-ins in WWE mean nothing. When last week we literally saw Oba versus JD, so like weigh-ins mean nothing,
Right.
In the world of professional wrestling. But like I think if they would have billed it as just a face-to-face inside the cell,
Contract signing. We haven't signed a contract yet.
Yeah, like just something like that. I think that would have been a lot. I think that storyline wise, that would have been made more sense. But I think the way that they handled everything, the way they shot everything was done perfect. I knew when Brock locked the doors, I literally looked at my wife and went, "Those fake cops are dead. Like they are getting absolutely destroyed." And it was everything you want it to be, because you got Paul Heyman cutting his promo. Brock says his one-liner that gets the crowd going,
Yeah.
and then Oba just responds with no fear, and just I think it has said everything that they need to say.
Yep.
There's no reason to lock them both in, 6 days before, 5 days before, whatever it is. Save it for the pay-per-view. And I really hope that this does not kick off the show. Like, I keep this as far away from ESPN as you can. That's my one concern about this match and my big question is, if this is on ESPN, are they going to be able to do what they would be able to do just on regular pay-per-view?
Well, they're not going to pull out a toolbox. They're not going to do that. But I think whatever ESPN restrictions or constrictions or whatever you want to say, I think it can fit within the body of what they're going to do, which the most they're going to do is probably use the steps. They might use some chairs, and they're going to bust through the cell in some way, shape, or form. I think you can get away with that on ESPN and be fine. Now, the amount of color, the blood that might end up showing up, I don't know. But Andy, if Brock's not first, Brock's last. And Michael Cole said tonight that the WWE Championship is going to main event night number 1.
Yeah.
So Brock's got to be first.
Well, he wasn't first at Mania. Or
He
were they?
was.
Were
Yeah,
they
they were
first at
first.
Mania?
They kicked off night number 2. Yep.
They
They
weren't
kicked
first the
off.
last pay-per-view.
Yes, they were. They were first at
I
Clash of
swear they
Entry
weren't.
also.
It's
Yep.
all running together now. It's
I know.
been
I know.
6 months that this shit has been going on.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. Like if Brock's not on last, he's on first, but keep it away from me. Keep it away from ESPN.
City Kitty live with us in the chat saying, hey, y'all, what's going on? Thank you for being here. Dr. Durst still hanging with us. Thank you so much. He said, that surprised me. Don't remember seeing that before. I assume talking about Brock Lesnar locking the door to the cell and not getting in and the way they did that. Yeah, Andy, it was different. It really was. It was different. I'm like, you wouldn't have built it as a weigh-in, but it was definitely different. What do you think? I'm with you. Let's go ahead and make our predictions. Make them clear now. You're going Obafemi. I'm going Obafemi. It makes the most sense. At WrestleMania, we already saw the boots. We already saw the gloves. We saw the traditional retirement spiel for Brock Lesnar. I don't think we get a repeat of this at SummerSlam. I think it looks a lot like 2023 when he shook Cody's hand and raised his hand at the end, and then he'll leave the ring. That's what I think happens at the end of this. How do you see the end playing out?
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely, which kind of makes what he did at WrestleMania a little bit more annoying. Like I think we could have easily just saved it, like him not fake his retirement, but just get beat, go away for a couple months, and then if he shows back up and attacks Oba like he did, oh, that makes sense. Like it you can kind of tell that story yourself.
Not
So
not to totally derail us here, and not to really like contradict what you're saying there, but I do think because it was Brock, I think it's the respect for WrestleMania more so than it's his last match. It's his way of respecting WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think we could have accomplished that without him taking the boots off. Though.
Agreed. Yes, I do agree with that
like
too.
him acknowledging the fans and them chanting "Thank you, Lesnar" and all that stuff. Like I think that you could have gotten away with, but them like drawing out the retire, like him taking off his boots and him crying and all that. Like I think we could have saved that for SummerSlam. But I think it's just a simple after the match is over. They go face to face one more time. They shake hands. Brock raises Oba's hand, and then Brock and Paul kind of just walk their way back up the ramp. Because I know because we've already seen the retirement from Brock, the focus should now be on Oba. Like him beating Brock in Hell in a Cell, the focus should solely be on Oba now going to the future. Not saying like we bypass Brock, like give Brock his flowers, but Oba needs to pose at the end of the night. Like he needs to do his pose in the middle of the ring, and then fade to black and go to the commercial or whatever. I think that should be the main focus now instead of focusing all on Brock.
I definitely agree with that. That is for sure. All right. If you're live with us in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Let's see. We got some comments here. Dr. Durst asking us, is that Brock's personality to be gracious? It depends on who you ask is going to be my answer to that question.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Brock has this stigma of being very difficult to work with. But if you ask anyone backstage, Brock is very giving, especially when Brock wants to be, and Brock respects the business when he wants to be. And Andy, not to go down too much of a rabbit hole here, but I think a lot of that stigma that Brock has is either fed into or brought on by Vince McMahon. Like, I think that has a lot to do with it. Maybe Vince allowing Brock to be that way.
Yeah, I think that plays a part in it. And I think it depends on the era of Brock Lesnar that you're talking about.
Sure.
Because 2015, 2016, like it was pretty evident. Like the one that pops in my mind of Brock didn't care, you could tell he didn't care, and the match was horrible, is between him and Jon Moxley at WrestleMania. Like that should have been a fun match to watch, but because Brock wasn't willing to do anything, it was caused tension and all this other stuff. So you kind of see that. I think Brock is a lot like Randy in the mindset that if they care about it, you can tell
Yep.
because their selling is different. The way that they interact with their opponent is very different. Because you go back to two people that are very similar in style and size. His feud with Finn Balor going into the Rumble a couple years ago, and
Mhm.
his feud with Ricochet tell two very different stories.
Mhm.
Of his feud with Finn and the match with Finn, like he was willing to sell for Finn. He sold like a madman for Finn Balor, made him look like $1,000,000. Ricochet, on the other hand, he just straight up squashed. Like he sold nothing. He didn't do anything. So I think
But
with a guy like Oba, we've already seen it at WrestleMania.
yeah.
I think he is willing to be gracious to have Oba be the guy to take his place.
Do you again? We're about to go down a really bad rabbit hole, and I apologize because we got 11. We got 11 more matches to get to. I think the Ricochet thing goes back to Vince McMahon. I
Yeah,
really do,
yeah,
because I don't think Brock has anything to do with that. And the reason I say that is he beat Kofi Kingston in 8 seconds. Do you think that was a Brock call or a Vince call?
yeah,
Come on. Like
yeah,
Brock respects Kofi enough. I know he does. That
yeah,
he's not going to say, oh, I'm not going to do anything for Kofi. I got to beat him in 8. So that's not a Brock call.
yeah. Well, I think if there's money to be made, Brock's all in. And
Sure.
if you want proof of that, go watch Survivor Series against Goldberg.
Yep.
Like that
100%.
is proof that you know Brock is willing. If there's money to be made, Brock's going to do whatever it takes to make that money.
Yep.
The Rumble 2020, like he was the head honcho for a lot of it and was beating people up, whatever. But he did the job for Drew, and like he made Drew look like $1,000,000 while also making Keith Lee and some other guys in that Rumble look
Mhm.
really, really strong. So again, I think you're right that a lot of it comes from the Vince McMahon booking that nobody could beat Brock between 2014, 2013, and up until Vince left.
Yep.
Versus now, like we're able to see him and Cody. Like he was very gracious with Cody and that feud, and now with Oba, he's been very gracious in that feud, and he's sold for Omos. So like we see the progression of that as he's getting older, selling and giving to the next generation to take his place whenever he's done.
Yep. Great little discussion there on Brock Lesnar. I appreciate you guys being with us. If you're listening to the replay, you're watching the replay, all the things, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That is the main thing that we ask of you. We would appreciate that so very much. Let's talk about, we think, the main event of night number 1 of SummerSlam this year. Cody Rhodes chasing his 4th WWE championship against his brother, or not brother, as he says, the current undisputed champion, CM Punk, who won it from Sami Zayn just a couple of weeks ago in his return in Chicago. And Andy, I said it at the top of the show, we're going to answer the biggest questions about the biggest matches. The biggest question that I have for you here, and it's the same question that we have asked before. We've seen over the last week or so the animosity that has come up, the little things getting under each other's skin, yada, yada, yada. But the question remains the same. Does one of these guys turn heel at SummerSlam?
I honestly don't see it.
Okay.
Because of the fact that Punk even said in his last promo, he's always told Cody, "I'm never going to stab you in the back. I'm always going to stab you in the front. Like
Yeah.
you're going to see it coming."
Yep.
I don't think they're in a place where they want to turn Cody heel right now. Now maybe in the rematch or maybe in the final match of this thing, because I do think through the progression of it, we're probably going to get 3. Um,
Okay.
I think Cody, or Punk, one of them could easily turn heel towards that. But I don't see them doing it right now. Like I think they want to kind of draw that out and build on it even more coming out of this. So I think if it was the main event of the entire show, like the entire weekend, I think there's a really good chance that that could happen.
Mm.
Because I think if we're being real honest, this should be the main event. Like I think this should be the final match of the entire weekend, but that's another
Mm.
discussion for another day.
Mm.
Um, But I don't think either one of them are going to turn heel on each other right now.
I think, obviously, turning CM Punk is like turning Edge or turning Daniel Bryan or turning fill in the blank. You just can't do it at this stage in his career. It's just not going to have the effect that you want it to have. Even Randy Orton earlier this year, it's not going to have the effect that you want it to have. So it has to be Cody. So the question there is, Andy, is it the right time to turn Cody? You said no, not quite yet. I will push even further and say the question is CM Punk the right baby face to turn Cody Rhodes? And I think the answer there is probably no, because as popular as CM Punk is, and as much as I just sit here and said that you can't turn him heel, I'm going to talk out of the other side of my mouth and say that he's still one of the more polarizing wrestlers in all of history, and he's still not getting 100% cheers. Like it just, because there are people that just don't like him. I'm not saying there has to be a 100% acceptance rate of the person Cody is facing, but if you wanted to put somebody in that position, you could have did John Cena last year, and that would have turned Cody Rhodes heel. I'm not trying to back up and whatever, but you see my point. Like, you need a strong baby face to turn Cody heel. The problem is Cody is that strong baby face.
Yeah, you need another Cody Rhodes for Cody to turn heel on.
Yes, you do.
For it to make the impact that it needs to make. Could he turn heel on a Punk? Absolutely. Could he turn heel on a Randy Orton? Absolutely. But I don't think it would land the same as if, the same reason why the John Cena heel turn hit so hard when he actually turned heel is because he did it in what a lot of people would say is the next John Cena. Like, the next babyface that'll never turn heel, he turned his back on him. Like, I think that's what Cody needs, is somebody like that. And to be real honest with you, I don't think there's anybody on the roster that fits that right now.
Nope.
I think there are some people that you could build up to get to that point. Like a young guy like a Javon Evans or somebody like that, like trying to take that spot, and they're the white meat babyface. They're they're good all the way to the bone. They're not going to do anything. Maybe show some sides of aggression or whatever, but they're always going to do the right thing at the end. You need somebody like that for Cody to turn on, and as of right now, there's nobody on the roster unless he turns heel on like an Io Sky or somebody like that. But I really don't think they're going to do that.
I got two names that possibly could do it. LA Knight's one of them. I think if that story is told, you could do it. And the other is Danhausen. Like, I think if you continued to show Cody and Danhausen on screen together like they've been doing at the house shows, Cody would have to obliterate Danhausen like John Cena did to him. But if he did it, that could turn Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, and then like the layup answer, because it's always going to be the case, is like if he turned on a Rey Mysterio.
Of course, yes.
Because like Ray, R-Truth, those kind of guys are,
maybe Danhausen's in that category too.
Yeah, like but I think more so for Ray and for R-Truth, they're in that Randy Punk, John Cena echelon of, I don't think there's anything you could really do aside from actually killing somebody on TV to turn them heel in the eyes of the fans. So I think some, like a legend like that, and even like a legend that you could bring in, I think that's a way that maybe you could turn Cody heel, of maybe a DDP or an Arn Anderson or somebody. Yeah, Shawn Michaels, somebody that you could bring in, even Triple H. Like there's somebody like that would work more than probably just a random turn.
Sure.
Against a Punk or somebody.
If you're live with us in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Continue to drop those comments and questions. Even if you're watching the replay, please make sure you do it as well. City Kitty hanging out with us, our loyal viewer. Thank you so much. Dusty's kid will prevail and come out with number 4. Well, City Kitty, I hate to tell you, there are 2 guys that are hosting this show right now that are going to disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I'm picking CM Punk to win this one, Andy. Aren't you?
Yeah. I think both guys need to win. Like, I think both guys need Punk to win this.
Yes.
I think Cody needs, again, we need to see Cody Rhodes without the title now.
Now, before you continue, that's my next question. Is Cody Rhodes, we're seeing this aggressive, almost annoyed side of Cody Rhodes against CM Punk. Cody loses a championship match in a stadium and the fans cheer the other guy. So what happens to Cody? You mentioned we might get 2 or 3 matches out of this. What happens to Cody?
Honestly, like, I think the next step for him, I know it's a couple months away from now, not even a couple months. Well, kind of. I think it's really interesting to put a guy like Cody Rhodes in the Money in the Bank, like, ladder match.
I
Not
do
that
like
he's going to win it, not that he should win it. Like,
I like it.
Cody's the one guy in the entire roster that should never win Money in the Bank as a babyface. It makes
Because he
it's like
can
when
just
John Cena won it. It makes no sense for that guy to ever
he can
ever
just
hold
say he can just say when he wants a championship and he's
exactly.
gonna get it.
Makes no sense for that guy like that to
Yeah,
ever win it. But for him to be in it,
yeah.
I think is very interesting, especially if they kind of play off of Cody's now desperate to get back in the title picture. So, like, maybe a returning Drew McIntyre, they go back into a feud, or you can pick back up where you left off with a Sami Zayn or a Gunther or somebody like that. So, like, you can fill the next couple of months with those stories, put him in the Money in the Bank. Obviously, he's not going to win that. He's spiraling more and more. Put him in, a War Games match. Have him even lose there or whatever. All to build him up, because I honestly think right now, if Cody is not the champion going into the Rumble, I think there's a good chance Cody could win the Rumble for a third time.
Yeah.
So, like, I think if they want to build that story, he's got it. And coming out of my mouth is going to be wild because of all the things that I said 4 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it is now. Cody needs to face a little bit more of adversity going through this. I know.
Whoa.
I know.
Oh
Not to finish the story. The story is over. Now that the story is over, Cody needs to face some more adversity to build him. I think to build him back up and to keep that freshness that he has with the fans. Because we saw what happened with John Cena. We saw what happened with Roman Reigns when they're in the title picture all the time. You hate it. But if you take him away and put him back in, you take him away and you put him back in, I think that adds even more to it. And it gives more people a chance to really run with the title.
Yep. And we're going to talk about that number 1 contenders match on the SummerSlam card coming up in just a little bit, as that is on night number 2. We appreciate you guys being live with us. Dr. Durst in the chat. What if they make it where Punk wins, then he rejects the weight of being QB1, so Cody can say he told him so? Well, I think that could be a way, Andy, to continue this feud. And Cody trying to say, I mean, he said it in the promo the other night, I'm one of one. I'm the one that went from knocking on the door to being knocked on, and I'm the only one. But he also, in the same breath, said that Punk is the one that scares him, and Punk is the one, So I don't necessarily know that Punk can't carry the weight of being QB1, because we saw how much he's run over the last year and a half and his 6-month run or whatever it was as champion. So I don't think there's a problem with that, but I do think there's a way where they could book, you mentioned adversity for Cody, they can book adversity for Punk, and you can have Cody with a snarky comment saying, see, I told you so, kind of thing. Or it's a lot different over here on SmackDown than it is on Raw, or, what have you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think coming out of SummerSlam, Punk or Cody can be the guy in the background that's like, just letting Punk have it. And then finally, when Punk snaps on Cody and gives him a rematch or whatever down the line, maybe Cody can win it back there, or Punk solidifies himself even more as, hey, I can do, like, I not just like the other guy that was in charge before here, I can prove that I can do this. Like, I think that's a story that they can really run with over the course of the next couple of months. Because I have a hard time really believing that this is just a one-off between these two guys. I don't think they're going to be back to back to back, but I think, like, over the next year, they're going to spread these out into a trilogy. To really tell that story.
Could easily do that. That's for sure. All right. let's talk about that one that is in charge. Let's talk about the match that I am honestly, this is the match I'm looking forward to the most on the SummerSlam card. And that is the WWE debut of the national treasure, Nick Aldis, taking on the career killer, hint, hint, the ring general, Gunther, and Andy, answering the biggest questions about the biggest matches on SummerSlam. The question still remains the same when we started speculating this match. Is this a one-off for Nick Aldis?
I'm gonna go 3 for 3 and say no. I don't think it's a one-off. Now, I don't think he's going to go into being a full-time, week-to-week wrestler or anything like that. But I do think, there's so much potential and there's so many different avenues and stories you can tell with a guy like Nick Aldis. I think Gunther is probably the best person to introduce him into the world of WWE and have his first match with him. But then you got to think there's history of Nick Aldis as GM with Drew McIntyre. There's history of Nick Aldis with so many other guys. The one thing that makes me nervous that it is a one-off is they have yet to bring up anything that Nick Aldis has accomplished outside of WWE.
Yeah.
On commentary.
Yeah. Gunther brought it up in the promo, but that was it.
Yeah. They need to talk about how he's a multi-time NWA world champion. They need to talk about how him and Cody Rhodes went on a year-long feud against each other on the independent scene. There's so many things that they can tell. I highly doubt they'll show that picture, but there's so many things that they can tell.
Wait. Maybe this one.
There you go. That was probably better. That's an amazing match too, by the way. But there's so many things that they can tell with him and Cody. There's so many things that they could tell with so many guys that have come through. So I really hope it's not a one-off. I hope it becomes a thing where he wrestles from time to time. Let him get a year run in WWE because he's more than deserved it. I think even if you go back and listen, because he was on the Chris Van Vliet podcast, he talked about how he wants to wrestle. He wants to go back to being a full-time wrestler if they would let him. So I have a hard time with how able he is and how good he is. I have a hard time seeing it as a one-off. But I honestly think it depends on how the match goes and how the crowd reacts on determining whether he gets another one or not.
Yep, for sure. Because we all know, fans of wrestling outside of the WWE, we know what he is capable of, and you just laid it out. And maybe WWE is not going to get the rights to any video of Nick or anything like that. So maybe they're not going to be able to show a vignette. But Andy, wouldn't it be cool if Gunther is walking through the hallway and he bumps into Cody Rhodes and Cody just tells Gunther, hey, be careful what you're getting yourself into, buddy.
Yeah.
And then everybody sort of knows, you know what I mean? Dr. Durst in the chat with us. Can Gunther ever admit some respect for an opponent? On screen? No, he will not, because that's his character. He's not going to do that.
He has a character other than just randomly showing up and ending careers.
He does. Yes, he does, Andy. Come on. Don't you watch the product?
Yeah, that's the problem, is I have been watching the product.
So on screen, no, I don't think he'll admit any respect to an opponent. Off screen, he's done several interviews where he has admitted respect for an opponent. Most notably, he did Cody Rhodes' podcast about the John Cena match after the John Cena match. So that is definitely one. City Kitty in the chat. I'm used to being in the minority. I'm picking Aldis to win. Well, you're in the minority again. I don't think okay. So I'm in the minority this time.
You are.
I'm going to take Gunther to win this one, simply because I think we've dogged Gunther since before WrestleMania and how he needs something. And I think this is going to be a something to, I don't know what it's going to lead to. I can see the argument for Aldis winning, though, because if you're going to establish him as a somewhat regular competitor, he needs a big win. But again, it's as Bully Ray says, you don't have to go over to get over. And Gunther can put Nick Aldis over, but you're leaning Aldis for this one.
I am, simply because I think Gunther needs somebody who's not retiring, obviously, but somebody to shock him.
Sure.
Of like, get that moment of he's too cocky, he's playing with his food, he's doing all this other stuff. And I'm not even talking about like Aldis hits a finisher on him 1, 2, 3. I'm talking about maybe he puts the sleeper in, Aldis reverses it into a roll-up pin and just escapes with the win. And like, I think that sets up maybe a match down the line between them. But I think it adds more to the Gunther character if he loses here. And then again, like you don't need to win to get over it. That's absolutely right. We've seen it time and time again of people who have lost, but they were the ones that people were talking about coming out of the match.
Yep.
But I do think they built this up so much that if Aldis is going to do anything, he needs to win. Like, he needs to get that win to establish himself, even if it's a shot quick thing, and then Gunther can get his win back within the next month or so.
Dr. Durst giving his prediction in the chat. Gunther wins, but it needs to be a banger. Listen, as long as they get time and they don't treat Aldis like a GM, which the story that they're telling, Andy, without listing his accomplishments, makes me believe they're not going to treat this as shocking when he takes off his jacket and he's in tremendous shape and he goes toe to toe for 15 to 20 minutes with Gunther. Like, I don't think it's going to be this GM thing. So I do think it'll be a really good match. Another one that I think will be a really good match, but it's probably the match that Andy and I are looking forward to the least. I can speak for Andy when I say this, on the SummerSlam card. And that is for the Women's World Championship over on Raw. Liv Morgan, 100 days as champion, her first title defense against the Queen of the Ring, who just beat her last month, Io Sky. Andy,
it makes all the sense in the world.
Any new thoughts? Any new developments here?
The story is awful. Like, the story is awful, and it's not gotten better.
It's trash.
Even tonight, it's not gotten better. That being said, this is going to be one of those, and I hate to admit it, we're not going to remember the story because I think the match is going to be pretty decent.
Oh, for sure.
I think you put somebody like Io Sky in there with Liv Morgan. I think Io's at that level now. You could put her in there with a broomstick, and she can put on an instant classic, and people are going to be talking about it. So I think her and Liv are going to have a really good match. But we have got to do something to spice up the women's division in a major way. Like, we need something because it has been abysmal.
It's been really, 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 really hard. Yeah, it's been really hard.
Here's the thing. Like, the feud between Stephanie and Liv going into WrestleMania was probably one of the best stories going into that entire show because they were physical with each other. They beat the crap out of each other every week going into it.
Yep.
And then she wins the title and does literally nothing with it for 100 days. And now loses the pay-per-view before to the person that she's now facing at SummerSlam for the title.
Yep.
They are not helping themselves out with booking. They're not helping themselves out with the way that they're doing matches on Raw, and SmackDown. The women's division needs something to spice things up because they're also probably about to lose somebody. Like, somebody's probably getting ready to walk out of the company. So it's you're getting ready to get even worse. So you need to figure something out.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about another women's match. Oh, by the way, predictions. You're going Io. I'm going Io. You have to keep the magic of Danhausen alive.
Yeah.
So I have to go with Io on this. As much as I want Liv to retain her championship in her first defense in 100 days, I think
she can not defend it for another 100.
Not defend it for another 100. Yes. Dr. Durst in the chat, is Rhea injured? Yes, she has a torn meniscus in her knee. That is why we're having a ladder match on night number 2 for the interim women's championship. And that is firmly why I believe that Io did not pick Rhea when she won Queen of the Ring, is because Rhea is injured. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the other women's match on night number 1, a 6-woman tag that was made official this past Friday night on SmackDown. It is the Bella Twins returning Nikki Bella from injury and Paige taking on the women's tag team champions, Fatal Influence, and of course, JC Jane added in there as the third. Andy, this is the legends putting over the newbies. This has got to be a Fatal Influence win, in my opinion.
It is, with a Nikki Bella heel turn at the end of it.
Yep.
Because we are building to Nikki Bella versus Paige, because
we have to be.
We're running the hits back, and that's fine. Like, I think that out of all the Nikki Bella matches you could give me, if it's against Paige, I'm in. So it's fine. So I think people have been expecting this, like, when we've been kind of stalling for when Nikki can return so we can tell the story. I think that's kind of the point we're at. But put the younger talent over. I think it's going to be a fun match. It's probably going to be chaotic, but I don't see the veterans getting the win here.
Yep, I don't either. All right, last match of night number 1, and I'm not sure why they put both 6-person tag matches on the same night, but here we go. Night number 1, the Usos and Jacob Fatu versus Royce Keys, Solo Sikoa, and LA Knight. Andy, I started this podcast off by saying we're going to answer the biggest questions about the biggest matches on SummerSlam. The problem with that logic in this match is there are so many questions that I can't even begin to answer. So I'm going to throw them out here just briefly here. Why in the world do the Usos and Jacob Fatu suddenly get along? Why are they on the same page? Why can we not tell why they are getting along? I don't understand why that humongous hole in the logic of this story cannot be filled.
I've been saying that for a while. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know why Jacob is so excited to now be a part of the bloodline.
I don't know.
You know, like, I don't know. I don't get it. The one thing I did see tonight is I think he shoved Jay up the entrance ramp.
Oh, okay.
After the brawl, but I don't know if he actually shoved him or if Jay just tripped. You know, because it's Jey Uso, so you never really know.
That is fair. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're all wearing T-shirts with all 4 of them on a T. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? They don't know what story they're telling. They don't they all 4 arrived together tonight.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
They don't do nothing.
Yep. Speaking of what story we're telling, if this match does not lead to LA Knight getting a world championship match after SummerSlam,
it's not going to. I don't. It's not going to.
We have not only LA Knight getting a world championship match, but something significant for the other 5 guys in the match.
Yep.
We have wasted a lot of TV time on this match if it doesn't lead to something.
Are you ready for this? It's not going to lead to nothing. It's not going to lead to anything. I'll tell you what it's going to lead to. It's going to lead to people getting hope that LA Knight is finally going to win Money in the Bank, just for him to get shoved off the ladder again at the end of it, and a Jey Uso or a Jimmy Uso or a Jacob Fatu or, Cody Rhodes. That's going to be the one that sets me up. I know I said Cody in the Money in the Bank would be awesome, but if he doesn't, as long as he doesn't win it, if he's the reason why LA Knight doesn't win it, that's like slam my head through a wall. Infuriating. I don't think this is leading to anything. I think this is just to get these 6 guys on the card and then lead to nothing.
Who wins the match?
Kind of where I'm at right now.
For those of you listening on podcast, Andy just flipped an invisible coin.
I think the Bloodline will win because Bloodline has to win. I think Royce Keys is eating the pin.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Jacob Fatu is getting the pin.
Okay.
Maybe Solo turns. Maybe Solo walks out. But then again, it's like, this is the best work of Solo. Do you really want to stop it just to add him to the Bloodline?
Right.
So I'm going with the Bloodline to win.
I'll go the opposite way and take the baby faces to win here. At least I think it's the babyface team. Just because I think LA Knight gets skipped over for Money in the Bank for the fact that I do think he gets a world title shot at Money in the Bank. I think that'll be the next pay-per-view. There's probably one or two more in between. I do think that LA Knight's going to get a shot at Roman Reigns. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I do think it'll happen. Do I think he'll win? Absolutely not a chance, but I do think he'll get a shot.
And I think people will see through that, and nobody will care about that feud at all. Like, I think people will see through that, the fact that, oh, they're putting him, they're putting him in. It's like when they put guys in the championship match during the Rumble. They're doing that to keep them out of the Rumble. If they do that to keep LA Knight out of the Money in the Bank briefcase match, then I don't know how people. I like that better than him losing a qualifier, which I think is a real possibility as well. So,
right, for
I
sure.
don't know.
Dr. Darcy in the chat with us. 6 mans have no belt. That is correct. There is no trios championship in the WWE. There's a lot of championships, but not a trios championship in the WWE. Well, that match leads to next match that we're going to talk about. Obviously, we just talked about world title shots and who LA Knight might face. Well, let's talk about the night 2 main event, or at least it better be the main event of night number 2. Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championship against his kryptonite, his arch nemesis, Seth Rollins. And Andy, we're answering the biggest questions about the biggest matches on the card. And this one, ironically, let's think about this, because you and I don't know if our picks are still the same. Coming into at least this week, we both said this is Spear 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns stands tall at the end of SummerSlam. But who needs this win more? Is it Roman or is it Seth?
The title being on the line makes that a different question.
Okay.
Because non-title, I would go with Seth. I don't really want to see another world title run from Seth Rollins right now.
Are you afraid he's going to get hurt?
Well, how has most of his other championship reigns ended?
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but I don't think Roman needs the win either. Like, I don't think I'm going to give the cop-out answer. I don't think either one of them need the win.
Okay.
Like, I think if Seth wins and Roman loses, it's not going to hurt Roman Reigns. If Roman wins and Seth loses, it's not going to hurt Seth Rollins.
Okay. Let me ask it this way then.
Okay.
If Seth wins, then he is still Roman Reigns' kryptonite. One of the greatest superstars of our generation can't conquer one guy. Okay. So if Seth wins, does WWE run the risk of truly taking the belt off Roman just to have it on the show every week on Seth Rollins? Is that a risk they're willing to take? So on the flip side, if Roman wins, it's probably best for business, because when Roman Reigns is on the show, it feels bigger, sells more merchandise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what happens to Seth's credibility if he's talked all this talk about how he's in Roman's head and he can't get it done?
I think that's just Seth Rollins. Like, I really, like, I just think that's the character of Seth Rollins. And it's kind of always been the character of Seth Rollins. Even going back to his feud with Cody, like, that was the thing, is he talked a lot, he talked a big game and never backed it up. So I don't think it really hurts Seth to lose and to have everybody be like, oh, well, you just talk a lot and you can't back it up. I kind of think that's who Seth is in WWE's eyes. I think there's a lot of truth, even with Triple H in charge. I think there's a lot of truth to Roman saying that he's always going to be second. I think that's the way that they have built him. That's the way that they have booked him. So I don't think they run the risk of, taking the title off Roman just so it can be on TV. Because we've seen in the past, they don't really care if the title's on TV every week or not.
Sure.
So I really like I feel better about this match than I do Oba Brock. And I'm like 99% sure with Oba Brock. I'm like 100% sure on who's going to win this one and walk out with the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, again, if you bring up the business aspect of it again, it's Netflix having the world title on the show every week versus Netflix having Roman Reigns as their champion.
Yeah.
Like, let's think about that. Seth is always going to be number 2. That is 100% fact. I'm glad that he said it tonight. He referenced all of the video packages and all that, but he brought it back to present day and said there's something that I'm always going to be better than you at, and that is professional wrestling. So I love that he continues to be like, look, yes, the Shield stuff mattered. Yes, my cash in and at WrestleMania 31 mattered and blah, 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 blah. But today I'm still better than you in the ring. So I'm glad that he brings that up. Let's get to some comments here in the chat. Dr. Durr says Roman wins. Angry Seth is more entertaining. Yes, it absolutely is far more entertaining in my opinion. City Kitty with an interesting comment here. Seth wins and takes over the bloodline from Roman Reigns. Well, Andy, maybe he doesn't necessarily take over the bloodline as is.
Yeah.
But there's a Solo Sikoa that's already offered his help out there. And if Seth Rollins wins the championship, that probably means that Roman Reigns is going to go away for a little bit. And we revisit this at, I don't know, War Games. I'm just saying.
Yeah. If they're all still healthy by the time we get to War Games, that's
also fair. Also,
that's a really big point. I think for the swerve's sake, that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm having a hard time visualizing it.
Yep.
Of like Seth and Solo, because I don't think the Usos would join in.
No, I don't either.
I don't think Jacob would follow in with Seth and with Solo. So
I
don't know.
What if you did? Seth, Solo, Balor, and Tama Tonga in this Bullet Club bloodline sort of meshed up faction?
Yeah.
It's not ideal by any stretch. We don't need Seth Rollins in a faction. No. I'm literally just reaching for the sake of, hey, he's got to put 4 other guys in a War Games match to go up against Roman in the bloodline. Who's he going to be?
I think he can just find people that hate the bloodline. Like LA Knight. It kind of fits that mold.
And Solo Sikoa and Royce Keys. Great. That's why
there's your team. Honestly, I'm not shocked if we get to War Games and it's that.
Yeah. Yep. We are almost an hour into this show. We appreciate you guys hanging with us. We do have 5 more matches that we do want to talk about. Plus, there's SummerSlam's a big show, and we have to do some due diligence here and talk about it. But before we do, you're sticking with Roman Reigns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sticking with Roman Reigns. That is my prediction. If this is main eventing night 2 of SummerSlam, I cannot see Seth Rollins standing tall at the end of night number 2 over Roman Reigns, no matter if Roman's going away for a month or not. I can't see it. Yep. All right, let's talk about some more matches on night number 2. Let's look at we mentioned this earlier, the Fatal 5-Way ladder match for the interim women's championship. The 5th spot yet to be determined. That'll be between Lash Legend and Julia coming up on SmackDown Friday. The other spots, Jade Cargill, the women's U.S. champion Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair, and Chelsea Green. Now, again, as we said earlier, this is due to the fact that there's no Rhea Ripley because she's injured. I understand that you want to crown an interim champion because Rhea Ripley's probably going to be out for another month or so. So I understand that. I would have separated Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill from this and had them have a singles match, because the way that their feud has been booked in this, I hate the way they qualified. the dumb disqualification and Nia Jax going crazy. Like, why is there just not a place for them to have that singles match? Plug two ladies in from Raw into this match in their place and just let it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know either. Either do the ladder match without them or just do them two for the title.
Bingo. There it is.
Like, I
Jade
think
was
it's
the
that
last
simple.
champion before Rhea. Do it that way.
Yeah. And you're talking about the most reigns in women's history with Charlotte. So that's fine. I think you can run with that easily. That being said, this is a great way to give Chelsea Green the title for a little bit.
Yes, it is. Oh,
So
yes, it is.
I am hoping that it's either Chelsea gets the win or like let Lash Legend hold it for a month.
Yep, that's what I think too.
Like let
The
one of
issue
those two win it.
The issue is I don't think Lash would lose to Rhea or should lose to Rhea yet whenever Rhea
Yeah.
comes back. The point, Sam Roberts made this point today on his show. He said, let Chelsea win it. It's an interim championship. Maybe she loses it before Rhea comes back anyway. But it like you just said, it's the way to give Chelsea the
Are
moment.
you ready for this? You want to bring it full circle. She wins the title at SummerSlam, and the next SmackDown loses it to Charlotte or to Jade, just like Matt did with the IC title at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Like, it's a simple story. It's an easy story to tell. But we just gave Sami Zayn a run with the WWE Championship for a short period because he was going to lose it going forward. You could do the same thing with Chelsea. Like, Chelsea can win it at SummerSlam and then drop it to a Charlotte Flair or to a Jade Cargill, in 2 weeks on a random SmackDown or whatever. And then you can go from there. Like, I think that's a better option than just the standard, oh, Charlotte wins it or oh, Jade wins it. I do like the fact, though, and I wish they would do this more often, is instead of vacating the title, do an interim do an interim champion until the other champion comes back, and then you can. It's just a simple plug in. Hey, they're back. Let's do this match, and let's figure out who our champion is. I really really enjoy that format.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm not going to be the biggest supporter for an interim championship. But I do understand the logic, especially in a situation where we just sit here and talked about how the women's division needs something.
Yes.
Just give us something. So I think because Liv Morgan being champion for 100 days and not even defending the title yet, Rhea Ripley is injured. I think they had to do something. And I hope that something is Chelsea Green. Now, this could be Charlotte Flair wins, Alexa Bliss finally snaps, and they feud until Rhea gets back. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I don't know. Good chance that Charlotte wins this one. I am hopeful that Lash Legend, it's again, Lash or Chelsea. It's an easy way to get them the championship, get them a moment, something different, all that kind of stuff. Okay, let's talk about another championship. Night 2 is filled with either stipulations or championships. So let's talk about it. The Intercontinental Championship. Penta defending against Chad Gable. The video package that we saw tonight for Chad Gable, absolutely incredible. The championship that he's been chasing for a long time. He finally gets a shot at it. Andy, I said earlier the biggest question with CM Punk and Cody Rhodes was, will one of them turn heel? If you ask that question with this match, I'm going to tell you, I hope not. I hope these two just, out of respect for each other, a 20-minute banger. There's a handshake at the end, and Chad Gable finally wins this championship.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if this was the match of the weekend between these two.
I put that in my notes too. Yep.
Like if you give them enough time, kick off night 2 with this match, I mean, they would tear the house down.
Yeah.
Because Penta is as good as anybody's going to get. Chad Gable is as good as anybody's going to get. They wrestle two very different styles that mesh really well together. And so I really think this could steal the entire weekend. This could be the best match of the entire weekend. Chad needs to win this.
Yes, he does.
Like, Chad Gable needs to walk out with the IC title. Penta has done a great job with it. Penta has been a fantastic Intercontinental Champion. But you put that thing on Chad Gable, and we are off and running.
Yep.
As long as he does not get sucked into the vision vortex, then that run into trouble. But I really think Chad needs to win this.
City Kitty is right there with you in the chat. She likes Penta as champion, as does everybody. He's been champion for a long time now, but picking Chad Gable to win, I mean, like, it's the next step for Chad Gable.
Yep.
I think we have to get there with Chad Gable. If you're going to do something meaningful with Chad Gable in the future, nobody's going to bat an eye if Penta loses the championship after having it for 8 months. Like, we're not. And this is what's next for Chad Gable. So I like that.
And then you just slide Penta into the Money in the Bank ladder match and just watch it go off.
Yes. Yes, you do. 100% you do. All right. A stipulation that I did not expect to be talking about on this podcast tonight. Human Money's on a pole match. Dominic Mysterio and Danhausen. First of all, Andy, the way this match was made on Monday Night Raw tonight with Adam Pearce talking to Danhausen, and he says, Human Money's on a pole. And Adam Pearce says, what? And Danhausen says, yeah, on a pole. Have you ever watched wrestling? And then you come out of the backstage and Michael Cole says, I don't know how I'm going to call this. And Corey Graves says, yeah, on a pole match, Judy Bagwell. Dude, I just about lost it.
Oh my goodness.
So good. It's so good. I cannot wait for this match.
Yeah, it's going to be the most overbooked nonsense.
Yes, it is.
On the entire card. I mean, I don't know what to expect. I'm kind of expecting anything and everything to happen. Dom's at the pole getting ready to pull the monies down, whatever that even looks like. Probably a briefcase. Probably as simple as just a briefcase.
Could be a bag. Could be a bag.
Yeah. And fireworks just shoot out of the turnbuckle out of nowhere. Like, just random craziness.
Yep.
I think if you're looking for a in-ring, masterclass, technician, false finishes, this is not it.
Nope.
This is going to be your sports entertainment match of the year. It's this match right here. You talk about your Sami Zayn's versus Johnny Knoxville's. This could be on that level.
Yes.
Going forward.
Yep, for sure. Rarely do I come on this podcast. I talk about some stupid stuff that I see on the internet all the time, and some stupid opinions and some stupid rumors. And we're actually working out a segment, as I talked about last week, that we can address some of these stupid things. But I'm not going to call out anybody individually. But I've seen several people online, Andy, who are talking about Dominic Mysterio's fall from grace because he's working with Danhausen. He just came off of working with John Cena, and he's been Intercontinental Champion and WrestleMania matches and AAA Mega Champion, blah, blah, blah. And people talking about, oh, they've totally dropped the ball with Dominic Mysterio. Andy, how about we ask Dominic Mysterio how he feels about working with the most popular wrestler on the roster, the top merch seller on the roster, and is going to get the most attention possible because he's working with Danhausen. Like, that doesn't make any, yes, Dominic Mysterio could have much better matches. Last year at SummerSlam, he worked with AJ Styles. I get it. But dude, Danhausen's going to have his face on a dang truck all over Minneapolis, and it got a blimp in the stadium. And you think Dominic Mysterio doesn't want to work with him?
Yeah, I think I think the fact that they're saying he doesn't want to work with him is crazy. I think, things like that are crazy. Does he wish probably that he was higher up or in a more marquee match on the card? Sure.
Probably.
Everybody does. Like, everybody wants that spot. And especially with where he was coming off of after winning the IC title for the first time and, getting a massive push for that year. As long as Judgment Day is a thing, Dominic Mysterio will be held down.
Mm.
Like that's kind of just a fact of life right now. As long as Judgment Day is a thing, whoever's involved in it is going to be held down as much as they can. At least Danhausen makes it interesting.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
adds something different to it. So I think he's going to have fun. I think it's going to be a fun match between the two of them. But after this, probably time to move on. Like let's kind of refocus, because if you watch, I will say this: if you watch Dominic Mysterio on Monday Night Raw and Dominic Mysterio on AAA, they are
Totally different.
not the same person. They are completely different people.
They're not. That is true. One more thing about Danhausen, because you weren't here last week, my fellow Kentucky Wildcat fan. What did we think about the big cat, Carl Anthony Towns, showing up with Danhausen on Saturday night's main event?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it, especially because of the Kentucky related merch that they dropped with Danhausen, which I already bought and it is at my house.
Yes.
So I loved every second of it. Plus, you're bringing in all these other NBA like stars, and you're in New York City after they just won the NBA Finals with the help of Danhausen. Like they wouldn't have won it if Danhausen didn't uncurse them. So all of it, I think it was done great. It was done perfect. If you're going to use celebrities and sports entertainment, like sports people, and bring them in, the perfect way to do it.
Yep, they did it correctly. A Saturday night's main event, 100% they did. City Kitty live with us in the chat. Danhausen getting his face on a frozen treats truck. I don't see a Dom chicken tendies truck. We do need a Dom chicken tendies truck, though. That would be very, very cool, actually. I could get down with that. All right, a couple more matches still to get to here. Appreciate you guys hanging with us. For the United States Championship, Trick Williams defending against a newly returned Baron Corbin. Now,
it still don't seem real.
It doesn't. You're right. It does not seem real, because I think this will be good, though. I was thinking about it because initially in my notes, I wrote down, why is this not Carmelo Hayes? Why is he not getting added to this match? But I think we need to understand why Baron Corbin is back. We don't know yet. He has not been in a match. We don't know why he's back. And I think him winning the United States Championship will allow us to understand why he's actually back and make him a forceful superstar on Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, I completely agree. Plus, I mean, we're kind of at the point with Trick and his popularity and everything. I don't think he needs to be U.S. champion for long before he steps up into the main event scene.
Sure.
Of,
Money in the Bank.
Maybe Money in the Bank. He's in that. Maybe at Money in the Bank, he faces either Punk or Cody for the title. I think something like that. I think Trick is ready for that. And it gives a good chance for Baron Corbin to come in and to clean the slate of what we know him as from his first run. Because I mean, if we're real honest, when he gets called up the first time out of NXT, like for the first year and a half or so to 2 years, he wasn't bad. Like
No.
he was actually pretty entertaining. The Lone Wolf stuff was really interesting. Like they were telling decent stuff with him, and then he got sucked into the Vince McMahon vortex of doom. that was that year, 2019. All of that stuff. So, I really hope that he comes back and just kind of reminds people, hey, I'm not what you saw last. I'm actually a much better version of myself now. And I think Trick is a great opponent for him to do that with.
Chris Van Vliet posted a graphic today that showed that all 5 of Baron Corbin's SummerSlam matches have been 5 different gimmicks. His first one being the Lone Wolf. The second one, he was Constable Corbin. The third one against Big E, he was Bum A Corbin. And then against Pat McAfee, he was Happy Corbin. And now he's the Nomad, Baron Corbin. So
maybe this one will stick.
Well, not only that, but like you just said, we got to wipe slate clean. We got to refresh. We got to restart. And I think this would be the way to do it. Yep. All right. Match number 12 of SummerSlam weekend. We appreciate you guys being tuned in right here with us on Squared Circle Radio. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do so. That would mean the world to us. We are on a great stretch right now of the podcast, and we could not do it without your support. So tell a friend, share the show, all the things. We would appreciate that so very much. Number one contender for the WWE Championship, Sami Zayn and Finn Balor. And Andy, I will say this. I love that this match is on the SummerSlam card. Not just because it's Sami versus Finn, because I worry that they're not going to get the time that they need. But having a singles match on a pay-per-view card that has true stakes, without just, look back at SummerSlam last year, Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. What were the stakes there? I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor, a number one contenders match. I really like this spotlight for them.
Yeah, I do too. And especially because of the new character that they're working out with Finn and bringing him in, and Sami Zayn coming off of what should have been the best month of his life that quickly turned into the worst month of his life, and trying to tell that story as well. So I really enjoy this too. We don't have enough singles matches on pay-per-views that actually mean something.
Sure.
Like they're just one-offs most of the time, or they're a small portion of a greater story that they're trying to tell, or they're all just multi-man tag matches now. Like we don't have enough one-on-one. The winner gets to face the champion in the next show or the next pay-per-view or whatever. Like
true stakes.
We needed this, and I think these are the two best guys to do that with if you're really trying to rebrand them and really trying to put them in a main event spotlight.
Who wins?
Finn Balor.
I'll go Sami Zayn.
Especially if Punk retains Finn Balor.
No, I say Sami Zayn. We just saw Finn and Punk. We don't need to see it again.
We just saw Sami and Punk too.
One time. Run it back.
We only saw Finn and Punk twice, so this is the trilogy.
Here's the idea that Sam Roberts posed, and I enjoy this idea. Sami Zayn earns his championship match, but he keeps getting skipped over because somebody like Cody Rhodes or somebody says, "Oh, I want a match," and it happens in front of Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And Sami Zayn says, "Wait a minute, I'm the number one contender," and Pierce just says, "Well, that's just the way it is. Sorry, Sami, that's just the way."
Especially
it is.
if Finn gets a title shot before
Sami.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to turn it into a comedy gimmick though. Like it needs to mean something.
Yes, I agree. That is true. Yes.
So I don't know, but I do think Finn gets the win and moves on.
Okay, let's try to do this. Let's run through our predictions for SummerSlam real quick. Let's see if we can do this. And for those of you who are watching live, just bear with us because we hope this turns into a social media cut. We'll see if it does or not. Here we go. SummerSlam predictions, night number 1, Hell in a Cell, Obafemi, Brock Lesnar. Andy, I'm going Obafemi.
Yeah, the ruler.
The WWE Championship main event, Cody Rhodes chasing the champion, CM Punk. I'm going CM Punk retains.
CM Punk retains.
All right. Gunther against Nick Aldis in his WWE debut. Gunther gets the win, in my opinion.
Give me Nick Aldis to get the shocking upset.
Oh, all right. Liv Morgan defends her championship against Io Sky. I think it's new champion. Io Sky wins this one.
Absolutely agree. Io Sky needs it and should win it.
6-woman tag, the Bellas and Paige against Fatal Influence. I'm going the newcomers, Fatal Influence here.
Fatal Influence because Nikki Bella is turning heel.
Of course she is. LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys, the Bloodline Hunters, taking on the Usos and Jacob Fatu. It's a coin flip, man, but I'm going LA Knight getting the win here.
The crowd loses. That's my prediction. I'm going to go with the Bloodline.
All right, night number 2, the World Heavyweight Championship. Roman Reigns defends against his kryptonite, Seth Rollins, but in the end, I think the OTC stands tall.
Roman Reigns will retain.
Women's 5-way ladder match for the interim women's championship. I think you talked me into it, man. I cannot count out my girl, Chelsea Green, to win this one.
I'm going Chelsea Green to win as well.
Let's go. Penta defends the Intercontinental Championship against Chad Gable. The hometown boy Chad Gable gets this one done.
Yep, Chad Gable wins the IC title.
I think we're picking a lot of the same ones here.
We are, which means this is not going to be a good night.
Dominic Mysterio versus Danhausen in a Human Monies on a pole match. I mean, Danhausen's undefeated. That streak continues, man.
I'm going Dominic. I think Dominic gets the win.
Okay, I like it. Baron Corbin in his WWE return, taking on the United States champion Trick Williams. I think it's the end of the road for Trick. Baron Corbin wins the U.S. title.
I think Baron Corbin wins as well.
And finally, the number one contender for the WWE Championship, Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor. I'm going Sami Zayn.
I'm going Finn Balor. Finally getting it done.
All right. That's probably good enough for a social media clip for those of you watching this. Thank you for bearing with us. Just another discussion here that this is probably a social media clip as well. Andy, SummerSlam is becoming as big as WrestleMania. And the reason that I say that is because for the past 6 years in a row, there has been a major return at SummerSlam every single year. So, Andy, who is it this year? Who makes a shocking return to the WWE this year?
Well, you can't say Big Cass because he's coming like the next night.
That is true.
A shocking return. Who do you have? Let me think. Let me sit and think on it for a minute.
You know who I have. You know who I have. Roman Reigns wins night number 2 and is standing in the ring. And who shows up to set up the Saudi WrestleMania main event?
To confuse this bloodline storyline even more.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Rock.
No, that's not happening. Yeah, it might.
See, I told you. You.
Could be Travis Scott. Travis Scott could show up.
He could. You're right.
If I'm doing math, like, is it too early for Naomi to return?
She went out shortly after SummerSlam last year. It might be too early for her to get physical. She could return. She might not be totally.
There's also a world where Chelsea Green gets taken out of the ladder match, and Naomi takes her place,
or AJ.
Yeah, if she's coming back,
or Becky, who's not on the card.
Yeah, but she wouldn't count as a return.
I agree with that.
I
don't think AJ would either.
No, I wouldn't count her as a return. Yeah, I don't know. I there's not like a big name out there that I can think of that. I mean, AJ Styles, maybe. Like, maybe that January one wasn't his final one or whatever.
I mean, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton are floating out there, but I like Kevin Owens much better.
Kevin Owens.
Yep. Kevin Owens is good. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kevin Owens. I'm gonna go with KO. I think that's the more reasonable one and the one I'd be more excited for than The Rock's music hitting.
Okay, so I'll run through it to remind everybody that's listening and watching. 2020 was Roman Reigns. 2021 in Las Vegas was Brock Lesnar. Yep. 2022, we had 4 returns. Bayley, Io Sky.
Yeah, we were in the house for that one.
Yes. Bayley, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Edge later on in the night came back.
Oh, yeah.
2023, not nearly as impactful, but Jimmy Uso made his return. 2024 was Roman Reigns in the main event. Yeah. And then 2025 was Brock Lesnar. So.
And Becky was in there somewhere too, wasn't she?
Becky was 2021. So Brock and Becky. That's right.
Yeah.
Brock and Becky. So 2026, I'm going with the great one. And you're going with Kevin Owens. I laid out my scenario for The Rock. What's your scenario for Kevin Owens? What do you think?
Punk
and Cody?
Yeah, that's probably the best case for it is Punk and Cody.
Okay.
Maybe Finn and Sammy. Like maybe Kevin gets involved there one way or another because he's got history with both of them. But like dream world scenario fantasy booking is maybe Kevin helps Punk win, cost Cody, and like we can start something between Kevin and Punk coming out of SummerSlam, or just after the match is over, Kevin Owens' music hits and walks onto the ring,
Mm,
and we get that. So I would say that's probably the most likely scenario.
I like it. I like it. All right, long show tonight. We appreciate you guys being with us. Two things that we have to acknowledge very quickly on our way out. We appreciate you guys being with us. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the things. Happy birthday to the boss, the chief content officer, Triple H. His birthday is today. And Andy, it's weird to see him growing his hair back out. It makes him look older.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it at all,
Love it.
especially after watching the Unreal documentary and then seeing him tonight. I was like, oh, you look you're looking rough, Papa H. You're looking a little rough.
Yes, looking a little rough. The other thing that we need to acknowledge, WWE Radio launched today on SiriusXM channel 156, taking the place of Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7, the home of Busted Open. Shows are remaining the same. Those shows being Not Sam Wrestling, Busted Open, Off the Ropes, adding the WWE podcast and simulcasting Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and the PLEs. Andy, if there wasn't enough reason to have a subscription to SiriusXM, you get WWE Radio, which I listen to it a whole lot today, and it's fantastic. I very much enjoy it. And lots of people online not happy about it. Lots of people saying they sold out, is what it is. Andy, the thing about it is, WWE doesn't need this channel, and this channel doesn't need WWE. So I do feel like it's a true partnership. There are some limitations, obviously. Thunder Rosa's not on the channel anymore. Okay, fine. But I feel like it's a great partnership. I think radio is the thing that WWE's been missing for a long time.
Yeah, you're also the anti AEW guy, so I'm not shocked. No,
Listen,
I'll say this.
They didn't talk enough about AEW to.
No, they didn't.
And
But
when they
I do
did,
think,
everybody got upset.
yeah, I think this now opens the door for somebody else to start something to talk about everything outside of WWE.
Yeah, didn't TK say, didn't Tony Khan say in his media after the pay-per-view that they're already, that they have been working on something?
Yeah, so I think that's, I mean, I think that's the alternative to it. I'm not a huge fan of WWE taking over more stuff because I think the bias gets around a lot more and it hides a lot of stuff, and you're not allowed to criticize certain areas and aspects of it. Just because what company would hire somebody to criticize them all the time? So that, I mean, it is what it is. So I think that aspect of it is going to be missing. But Busted Open and shows like that didn't really focus on a lot of other stuff outside of WWE as well. They did like the major AEW pay-per-views and stuff like that. They would focus on
TNA,
some TNA stuff and everything. But you know, it is what it is. I think it's very funny, especially after the comments from Jim Ross came out right after it or right before it actually happened. His comments were very telling about the direction it was heading in. So it kind of is just what it is, and you know, people will be upset about it for a week and then move on.
Yep. We'll see how tomorrow goes on Busted Open, and we'll see how critical they are of Monday Night Raw, a show full of packages and forgetful things and this, that, and the other. So we'll see how critical that they are. Only time will tell. City Kitty live with us in the chat before we leave here. Have you watched all of Unreal's new season yet? Yes, we have. Yes, there will be a bonus episode coming very soon on season 3 of Unreal. So we have watched it. We have reacted to it in our minds. We've made notes. We'll react to it on a bonus podcast. So coming soon. Get ready for that. If you want to hear our thoughts on season 3 of Unreal, subscribe wherever you find your podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. turn on the notifications, and you'll get notified when we drop our reaction to season 3 of Unreal. But that is going to do it for this episode. Andy, an hour and 25 minutes, but 2 nights of SummerSlam. It had to be done, man. It's the biggest party of the summer, a loaded 12-match card.
Yeah, it had to be done. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cover and dive into. And, these shows are always fun, and they're always fun to preview, and they're always fun to review. So come hang out with us both nights after the shows are done and let us know what you thought, because there's going to be stuff that we're going to love, and there's going to be stuff that I'm sure we're going to criticize and try to figure out where they're going. As long as that 6-man tag with the Bloodline is happening, I promise you there'll be something that you'll want to come here. So definitely come hang out with us Saturday night and Sunday night.
Hey, listen, if that's a reason to subscribe to the channel, if you haven't, we're going to do live reactions right after SummerSlam. So tune into the channel immediately following SummerSlam, Saturday night and Sunday night, right here on our YouTube channel. Again, hit that notifications bell so you know when we go live. Join us in the chat. We love interacting with you guys. The show is for the fans, by the fans. We could not do it without you. So we appreciate you lending your opinions. And we try to, if you're watching the replay and you drop comments, we try to respond to as many of those as we can. So join us on Saturday night and Sunday night right here for our SummerSlam reactions. For the Young Buck, Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. Another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live is in the books. We will catch you guys down the road.